Want some candy?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
I hear you looking for candy, man, bitch.
Give me some sugar, baby. Like scary movies.
Want some candy?
Welcome to... Yeah, I was about to do it.
Okay. Sorry.
it's gotta do it.
Anyway, okay, no, just start
go.
now. Okay, right, go. Sorry. Sorry.
You done? Hey everyone, welcome to Monster Candy Podcast. We have crossed oceans of time to find you, and now we will condemn you to a living death, to eternally hunger for blood. My name is Dominic Davey, and I'm from the band Tsunami Bomb. With me, as always, is Screamin' E from the Memphis Murder Men.
What up?
And, of course, the amazing, the astounding wrestler, Shotzi Blackheart.
Like, oh my god, hi.
And today, for our episode, we are going to be tackling Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh my god, Dracula. I really like Dracula.
From 1992. So I hope you're ready.
Ford Coppola.
Francis Ford Coppola, because we fancy. We're tackling that. Yeah? You love that? You like that? That's for you guys. There you go.
But first, we got some horror news.
Yeah.
So, like, in horror news land, so Dom, I gotta ask you, like, have you seen the Santa Clarita Diet show on Netflix?
I have watched the very first episode. I'm late to this party, but I like
Okay,
what
me
I've
too.
seen.
I've only seen one episode.
But I really liked it.
Yeah, I liked it too. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Uh-huh.
If you haven't heard of it out there, season 2, once this airs, has probably just come out or has been out for a couple weeks, but it's good.
It's cool. So
Yeah.
what's it about? Tell them what it's about. Because just in case, there's so much out there to watch. A lot of people don't know what's about.
It's about a normal little white family who are realtors, and the mom, I guess, is turning into some undead thing. I don't know what she is, a zombie or a vampire or something. I'm not exactly sure what she's turning into yet.
I'm pretty sure she's a zombie.
Okay.
I think she becomes a zombie.
Okay, zombie. Yeah. Well. Okay, zombie. But anyway, it's starring Drew Barrymore and that hot guy. What's I don't know.
Timothy Oliphant?
Is that what his name is?
I think that's what his name is.
He's pretty good looking for an old guy. But I like older men.
This is really okay. This is related to another conversation, everybody.
But anyway, Drew Barrymore is turned into a motherfucking zombie, and she's just this normal fucking white lady.
So racist.
It's good. I love Drew Barrymore. I'm into it.
It's funny.
Yeah,
it's good.
I'm gonna be watching. I'm gonna catch up, and I'm gonna get ready for the season that comes out. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a good Netflix pick.
Yes.
I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
Do you have a Netflix pick?
He don't watch Netflix.
Yeah, fuck that
he
shit.
doesn't even know how to use Netflix.
Yeah, how do you not know how to use Netflix?
I don't know. He's like an old man.
Well, she's fat, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, okay. And moving right along. I have a bit of news. This is new news when it came out. It's talking about, did you guys see this thing about the terrifying robot wolves that they're now prowling Japanese farms to keep boars away?
What?
Yes. Yeah, the robot wolves.
Do your howl.
That is good. But I think I might have showed you guys this before. I'm turning to the computer. That's what they look like.
They're so cute.
They're motion operated. They howl and they have red eyes, and it looks like they move around.
They look like goats.
They run around and they're supposed to scare boars. Apparently, it's totally real. I got this from Bloody Disgusting, so you guys can find the article there. Shout out to them because we totally like.
They
use
look
their
like
site a
goat
lot.
vampires.
But there's these like fucking robot.
That
like,
one's cool.
Yeah, they look like they honestly look like something you'd buy at like the article calls this at like Spirit Halloween for your yard. That's like
It
kinda
does. It does
cheesy.
look like it.
But apparently they will walk.
Does it? What is it? Yeah. Oh, so it walks.
It walks. It'll
And-
chase after things.
and barks and shit.
Yeah, it's like and it howls and
It'll
it has red
chase
eyes.
after things?
Yeah, it's like, and apparently it's.
So if I
working
go
over-
walking around in the middle of the night in Japan, I might get chased by one of these robotic
Like-
demon goat wolf things
With laser eyes.
with laser eyes.
Yes, it's mostly like looking
That's
for
scary
boars,
as
but-
shit.
Yeah, each farmer can get their own for like hire their own for around $5,000, and it'll like patrol their farm and attack anything that moves. It has a motion sensor.
I like how you said higher.
It says that in the article. It literally says like the robotic wolves, which measure around 2 feet tall and rely on motion sensors to detect pests, have been tasked with spooking, are entering mass production, allowing farmers around Japan to hire their own for about $5,000. Early trials have been proven incredibly
Instead
successful.
of renting.
The monster
hire.
wolves do their jobs efficiently. They're called super monster wolves. Thank you, John Squires of Bloody Disgusting, for posting this. This is, I think it's the coolest thing I've ever heard.
Wolf soldiers.
Yeah, it's like these weird robots that are like. Our world is so fucking weird and interesting.
Well, I mean, Japan's weird
Dude, I love
and
Japan.
cool.
And it's just crazy.
It's weird in the best possible way.
Yeah.
Is what we're saying.
I just love it. I love it. I love that that's happening. I'm gonna write a song called Super Monster Wolf.
Yes, you
Just totally
should.
put it as I got to. I have to now.
Your hit single.
So anyway, Super Monster Wolves, fucking awesome. I
Yeah,
think it's
they're
rad.
wicked. I
Yeah.
want one.
Yeah, I want one around my house.
Yeah, me too.
Like walking on its weird robot legs. You know those things have a weird gait. They're just gonna be like.
Yep.
It's gonna be like human centipeding after you. You know, it's gonna be all weird. Anyway, that's it for monster news. I think, or horror news, whatever we call
No,
it.
but what about Devil's Rejects 2?
What's up? What's up about Devil Rejects
They're
2?
coming out with Devil's Rejects 2.
I thought
What's
that
it
they
called?
Died.
It's the tagline is 3 from Hell.
3 from Hell. Wait, it's Devil Rejects 2, but it's called 3 from Hell.
Yes. Which, I mean, I guess makes sense because if you include House of a Thousand Corpses, it is the third movie.
True.
Yes.
Well, I would just figure it was meaning the 3 of them from hell.
That's what I'm saying.
They-
I think
they
it is
really
the 3.
did die.
Sid Haig, Bill Moseley.
But
and,
it would be awesome if it was like Devil's Rejects 2, 3 from hell. Like that would be.
the best.
If it was that, I'd be like, you know what, Rob Zombie, I'm gonna change my mind about you. I was wrong, I think.
He's a little inconsistent. Like you were saying it earlier, and it's true. It's
That
like
would be an
he's
awesome
hot and
title.
cold.
So, if you're out there listening, Rob Zombie, you might want to
3.
change it from that to that.
That would be the best. That would be the best.
Probably the
thing
best
ever.
thing he's ever done.
See, because I mean, he takes some turns. Like,
Take some turds.
He's taken some turns. There's parts of his movies that I really, really like, and then there are parts that I just hate.
Yes, like House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yes.
First half of that movie, great.
Yes.
Second half of that movie, dumpster fire.
Well, it's kind of crazy. It just sort of just goes.
See,
And a lot of people loved it for that. But I was like,
I know some people are like, oh yeah, the Dr. Satan scene's my favorite scene. I'm like,
I mean,
that was the shits.
it doesn't bother me so much as I think they should have been 2 separate movies.
they totally should have been
You
two
know what I
separate
mean?
movies.
If it was a Dr. Satan movie, okay, cool, I get it. House of a Thousand Corpses movie, I get it. But
he was doing 2 different.
Yeah.
I got the impression at the time, and you guys tell me what you think of this. I always felt like in that first movie, we had a Rob Zombie who didn't know if he would ever get to make another movie again.
Oh, yeah.
So he stuffed that 5-pound bag of his chance.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
And
yes.
he stuffed it with
everything he
everything he
wanted to
loved.
do.
I felt like I
Yes.
could count off the movies that he was pulling from. Like it was just
Totally.
like,
Yeah.
oh, Texas Chainsaw. Oh, there's.
I
you know,
actually,
Oh.
I mean, I kind of love House of a Thousand Corpses, even though I don't like the last half of it.
because out of nowhere, there's this underground tunnel with a
Yeah,
robot
no, it's
cyborg
so-
going.
It's so
You're
dumb.
like,
It's so
that's
dumb.
sawing people apart.
But in college, I did pull the Fish Boy monologue, and I did it for one of my monologues in class.
Did you really?
I did,
Are
yeah.
you serious?
Yes. I love that monologue so much. You Malibu Barbie middle class piece of shit. I fucking love it. I love it so much.
That's
My-
amazing. I would
My
have loved to
acting
have
my
seen-
acting teacher really liked it. So, I think I got like an A-.
Yeah.
I wish I had more faith. I agree. You had said earlier, when we talked about this earlier, that you don't have faith in Rob Zombie because you can't always count on what he's going to come out. Because as much as he has some really great influences and some really great moments, he's been a bit hot and cold lately.
Well, it's like Dave Grohl, man.
Oh my god.
Dave Grohl
I
seems
just-
like the fucking raddest dude
music
ever.
corner.
Like, super awesome.
Oh yeah,
And-
he's into like some super
and the
cool
music
shit.
he likes is like the Ramones, Motorhead, like all this fucking punk rock and
seems
rock
like
and
a
roll
cool
and
guy.
all
Then
this
he
shit.
makes some
and then,
shit music.
yeah, so he doesn't, come off with the best stuff, and you're like,
I was just having a conversation about this because Dave Grohl is a cool guy. Like, he does cool stuff. He likes cool stuff.
Yeah.
I like Dave Grohl. And on paper, if you describe to me the Foo Fighters and you tell me about them, I would think, wow, this is a major label band I can get behind. And then I am bored to tears by the Foo Fighters. They're just like, they're not interesting to me.
No.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dave, if you're a Horror Monster Candy podcast fan.
Yeah, if you're a candy killer, Dave. Sorry. But
Like,
I mean, they're.
I think you're cool.
Yeah, I think you're cool.
I'd love to hang out with you, but
Don't get me wrong.
your music sucks.
It's well, I
Well,
would.
not like that. Jesus.
Oh, sorry.
I
I'm
would say-
brutal. I'm mean.
I would say. I mean, it's great at what it is.
No, it's
like,
really good arena rock and roll band. It is all of that.
yeah, but just from the way the stuff that he's influenced by, and like just seems to really like talk about what was that the side band he did, like Monster or it was a band with a bunch of dudes, like I think Eagles, the death metal guys were in it. It was
I don't remember.
They
what
just
it's
did a
called.
bunch
I
of
remember that. Yes.
bunch of metal covers and other songs, and
Yeah.
and you just think about all the shit that he's always like, oh man, this is cool, this is that, oh yeah, and you're like, holy fuck, these bands are awesome.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, and it's the same with Rob Zombie in the movies. It's like you might get a gem in there somewhere every once in a while.
Yeah.
But most of the time, it's like, oh.
no,
man,
it's
that's
true.
bad.
I really like Rob Zombie as him when he talks and he talks about stuff he likes and what he's doing and what he's into. I'm White Zombie is a
I love White Zombie.
total guilty pleasure. Rob Zombie solo stuff I'm a really
I
big
don't feel
fan
guilty.
of. I don't know. I listened to the last album he put out. It seemed more sedate than I expected.
Yeah. No.
But like, I don't know. It's like, but I didn't like 31. Like what I saw of it, and I
Lords
you,
of
you
Salem
guys didn't
was
either.
poop.
You know what? We should do some of his movies. We should make.
It would
some
be
of his
fun.
movies. Yeah,
It would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think we'd make people crazy because a lot of people love everything he does.
Yeah.
But I do love House of a Thousand Corpses. I just don't like Dr. Satan.
I would have loved Dr. Satan if there was a movie about Dr. Satan. Like if there was a
Sure.
movie he did
Some
called Dr.
a
Satan.
background story of Dr. Satan. Why not?
Yeah,
And
I'd
you
be
know,
down
since he
for it.
was probably thinking like, man, this is probably my only shot at this. It's understandable he wanted to get everything in there. He's like, fuck, I'm just gonna throw it all in. Why
yeah.
not?
I mean, it was
So-
clearly a decision to go
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna throw everybody off with all of a sudden what's gonna happen under the tunnels of this
But-
house.
Yeah, so we will wait and see. Who knows? Maybe this new one will be fucking rad.
Yeah, I'm gonna go so far to say that I wasn't a huge fan of Devil's Rejects.
I'm
though.
sorry again, I farted.
I'm leaving that in.
Please.
Yeah, well,
Thank you, Shotzi.
In my defense, we just ate pizza
and hot wings.
and hot wings.
Thank you, Shotzi, for that wonderful, bountiful gift that
You're
keeps on
welcome.
giving for the
You're
next
welcome.
few minutes.
Floating air biscuits.
Well, that's it for horror news, everybody. I think we took up enough time for that.
What? You banging the gong?
It's a foghorn.
So today we're
Dracula.
talking about Bram Stoker's Dracula.
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 One Dracula.
We got to do the
Two
count.
Dracula.
There's a lot. We debated. We were thinking about that we were gonna do a movie, an episode where we compared a lot of the Dracula movies, but frankly, there's just too goddamn many of them. So,
There is.
and they all deserve, like the Hammer Horror deserves
Yeah,
to be
you
talked
know
about.
what?
The original Bela Lugosi deserves to be talked about. So it's just not really.
Nosferatu.
Nosferatu definitely
There's
deserves an
something
episode.
about movies on Dracula that they're all like really pretty, like Nosferatu and Bela Lugosi Dracula.
Dracula 2000.
Beautiful.
Dude, the 90s. Well,
Okay, that's a bad
the late
example.
90s, early
Just kidding.
2000s.
That's a
No,
bad example.
No, but you were right. You were right. I interrupted.
They're
That's right.
beautiful,
There's a lot of
though.
beautiful vampire movies about Dracula. Like,
Speaking
Yeah,
of Dracula
Bel-
2000, shout out to my girl Jennifer Esposito.
Oh my goodness.
who? Oh,
She's just
good too. Fair
hot.
enough. All right.
anyway.
No, she is.
Yeah,
But yeah. There are usually. They are usually. There's a lot of. I mean, this one was beautifully filmed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I love this movie. I love this movie.
Me
it's a good
too.
one. You know, when it first came out and I saw it, like I watched it, and I was like, yeah, that's cool or whatever, but I never gave it much of a chance after that. I was just like the initial, like, oh man, it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little overwrought, I think.
Yeah, but
They're all trying real hard.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's definitely like, I'd say probably the next best movie about Dracula.
Next to Bela Lugosi.
Yeah, next to the original.
Yeah, and I mean, you could debate.
I mean,
Yeah.
Like, you could debate.
I
between
think
those
that
two,
Right.
I think that Bela Lugosi Dracula is probably the most beautiful film ever filmed ever. But I kind of like this Dracula better.
Well, I mean, it's definitely
Just
more
'cause
exciting.
Yes.
This is definitely more exciting.
Bela Lugosi Dracula kind of bores me.
You know, the only. I mean, well, it's one step away from being a silent movie. At that
Yes.
time, you know?
Yes.
It's definitely
It's-
a different time. We've
It's
moved.
the typical.
I would
Universal.
love to do an episode dedicated to that. And that movie definitely
Yeah.
deserves it. There's a lot of stories behind those movies and behind that movie, and it is launched the Universal monster experience. It's it was really something.
And
But
Nosferatu we need to do too because
yeah,
there's a lot on that.
but I think honestly, Francis Ford Coppola, like I didn't appreciate one of the things, many things I didn't appreciate about this movie, and maybe everybody knows this, but I didn't realize. He did not use CGI effects. He wanted everything in camera.
See,
And when he met with a special effects crew and they said that it was impossible, he fired them.
yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
See, I'm such a sucker for special effects.
I know.
Practical effects,
Yeah, practical effects. Practical effects.
Yeah. And the only computer added effect that they couldn't fake with what they wanted to do was the rings of blue flame.
Right.
That's it. Everything else is done in camera or layered, like in the old Hollywood 1930s, 1940s. It's all stuff that they did, filming through with film tricks and overlaying things. I mean, that is amazing.
The camera work is awesome.
Oh,
in
it's
this movie.
super cool. Like how they film stuff
Backward,
in reverse.
The cinematographer, oh god, I'm so sorry, I don't have his name in my notes, or in front of me, but he said it was some of the finest work he ever did, and I have to
I
agree.
agree.
I
Each
agree.
shot
It's a
is
good
really
one.
I
beautiful.
mean, I don't know what
filmed.
else he's done, but I already agree.
I mean, there's just so many tricks. Like when we were looking through like the trivia, when we do these episodes, we read articles, we watch the movies a bunch of times, we look through the trivia on IMDb, we look through all these different things to source out stuff. There's so many things I didn't know, like the shaving scene, like the walls are slowly being pushed in and that's also, and they're also changing the range on the camera to slowly increase the claustrophobia sensation. I mean,
seriously,
that's awesome.
how can you not have a movie with Ted Theodore Logan in it, Drexel
Oh,
from True
my
Romance,
goodness.
and My Dearest Wesley from Princess Bride? How can you not have a movie with those three in it
Ted
and have it
sucked.
be fucking amazing?
Okay, I'm gonna say my least favorite part of this movie was
Ted.
Keanu Reeves, and I thought that when I saw it, like he was the worst part of it to me.
So bad.
But he actually says that he's embarrassed of how he did his
He
movie.
should be.
He was He said, I saw a whole
I don't
thing.
care.
He was exhausted. He had come off of like 3 other movies back to back.
Sounds like bullshit.
And he said he had nothing left to give on this movie, and he feels like his performance shows it. And I would say it looks like it. Like,
I mean,
he's
the
the
director
only
even
one,
agrees with him.
Yeah, the only one that's not really trying to knock it out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was them, I would have figured that out as
And-
big as Keanu Reeves is and cut him and found somebody else. Because somebody else would have worked so hard to be the perfect Johnny.
Yeah, I mean,
totally.
he probably wasn't the best choice for it because I don't think no matter how hard he tried, it's still going to be Ted.
Yeah, that's all I saw.
Well, there is a part when he goes, he's grown young. I swear to God, it almost seems like,
Yes!
whoa.
Who's that guy?
Yeah, it was like,
Oh, Dracula? Oh my god.
yeah, it just blows it for him because he's the only one that's not like everybody else. Winona Ryder, every single Sadie Frost, like all of them are trying so hard, like almost too hard
Yeah.
to make this
Yeah.
like over the top.
Which surprises me that these actors were so into this horror.
Should have been Johnny Depp.
He
was considered.
Yeah, he was considered
He was
for
fucking
it.
considered.
And they wanted a more heartthrob than him.
Which is dumb, because I think Johnny Depp is way more handsome than
Well, he
Keanu.
definitely would have fit the better, you know.
Yeah.
Hey.
Well, when I watch Sleepy Hollow and like that prissy kind of almost comedic, but kind of just the looks that he gives in that movie, the intensity that when he's trying to be Ichabod, like I think Johnny Depp could have brought that.
Depp or
he could have lightened this movie up in the right way as Jonathan Harker, the super sincere, just in over his head guy. I think this was pre Johnny Depp chewing up scenery like he does now.
been.
But I would have gone. They should have been somebody else. It should have been anybody. I could have
Anyone
named
else.
a lot. I could name a lot of.
Dom,
actors
you
from that
should have
time.
done it.
I totally could have done it.
You would have done way better than him. I would have done way better than him, and I was just a little fetus.
I helped direct a Dracula play, and I tried out for Dracula, but I didn't get it. I tried out twice, and both times. Once I was the second
I would
runner
have
up,
casted you, Dom.
and the first time it was because I had band practice and I couldn't.
you know who else would have been good in this?
I would have loved to be Dracula.
Billy Zane.
Billy Zane would have been good. I'm surprised he's not in
Who's
it. He was in
that?
everything back then. Billy Zane. He was in the Titanic as the
chick's husband.
and he was Phantom.
Phantom.
No, he's too. I don't know. He's too evil looking. You want to love Jonathan. You should feel sorry for Jonathan.
I mean, he's just a very like, Marlon Brando-esque looking like man, like a man. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I feel like back then, like if chicks were into dudes, they were into like.
I think
Man,
Wesley. What's his name? He would have been a good Jonathan Harker. He could have.
Yeah.
They
I
could
mean,
have brought
there's-
him up.
you
He
know.
actually has a English accent as
Yeah,
well.
we don't mean to bag on you, Keanu. You've done some great shit. Like
Carrie Ewells.
Yeah.
Ellis. Ewells. How do you
Elways,
say
I
his
think.
name?
I think it's Elways.
Elwes.
Yeah.
He would have been actually Richard Grant. All of those three guys, they could have
Yeah.
done a Jonathan Harker.
John Wick.
Billy
I love
Campbell.
You, though, but
Huh?
It's a John Wick movie. It's it probably wasn't Fine's performance, but we've talked about that long enough. Could have done better, but hey, it's still a great movie.
But what
yeah.
else? I mean, what other things? Is there anything else you guys didn't like about this movie before we go on and on about how great it is?
Not really. I mean, it's a pretty solid movie.
No, it's really fucking good.
Yeah, I mean, so it's like then if we can't talk about that, let's gossip about the movie.
Oh
So
my God.
apparently, who wants to start?
I can't wait. You know what my favorite part's gonna be?
Don't you go first.
Oh my god.
Bestiality.
Oh, that sex scene. Come on, like.
That's the running theme with you on these.
But seriously,
you spot the bestiality of these movies.
Any chick I've ever known,
It's okay.
it's their favorite part. They're like, oh, that
Really?
part's so sexy.
It is
Oh,
really
yeah.
sexy though.
I'm backing it.
And I'm like, but it's an animal, man.
Well, I'm an animal man.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, but
you know
like
what?
you want an animal in
Right,
the sheets,
but-
you know?
Realistically, it's a fucking beast. It is an animal banging the shit out of some chick.
Yeah,
and everyone's like,
Lucy.
oh my god, that's hot. And I'm like,
It
In
is
the
hot.
storm, she's got that red
Right?
dress. I mean,
Yes,
even I was like,
Lucy's
so
looking
I'd like to say
good.
all you people
City
are fucking sickos. 'Cause that's
I
disgusting.
own it. I'll
Yeah,
take
me
it.
too,
I'll
I'll
take
own it.
I wanted to be that werewolf.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a hairy dude, so I wanted to be that werewolf. But yeah, like no, I plus werewolves. I'm super into like the
Bat
man,
creature,
the wolf
whatever
beast.
the fuck it is.
It's a wolf beast.
It's a wolf. That's what I always thought it was.
Yeah.
And I've heard a few
Well,
people
yeah,
say
because-
like, no, it's a bat thing.
Well,
I'm like,
that's vampire
no.
folklore that they either turn into bats
yeah,
or
wolves.
wolves.
They do a bunch of
wolves.
shit.
Yeah, no, I think it's awesome. Apparently, there was a situation where he, like, she was really nervous about that scene and not in the mood, and like, so Francis Ford Coppola was like, go talk to her.
Wait, you mean she was apprehensive about banging his wolf dork?
Yeah, apparently. So I guess
You called it a dork.
he whispered stuff to her for a while. They were talking for a while, and I guess got her in the mood. And even she admits, and nobody knows what he said, but he like whispered to her for a while. So I pictured in my head them waiting for the shot to be set up. She's in that super sexy dress, all done up, that red nightgown. And he's totally dressed like a werewolf, like a wolf beast, and he's like leaning over going, hey, listen, it's just you and me right now, and we're gonna have a lot of fun. Just like, you know how gorgeous you look, and just like flirting with her to get her into the mood and
That's
into that moment.
perfect.
And I think that's amazing. While like maybe they're holding coffee, and she's like, I don't know, I'm just a little nervous, it's gonna be a little weird, and he's like, no, you know how gorgeous you look right now. Come on, like. And
You
like,
know
but
what
as a
though?
wolf-
I think that she actually wasn't apprehensive at all about it, but she wanted to act like she was.
so that she got him talking to her.
No, so that she doesn't seem like a weird,
A weird
a
bestiality.
weirdo. Yeah, weird.
When you told me that, I pictured him whispering into her ear like, hey, it's not white boy day.
It's not white boy. That's right. Oh, that's amazing. Good. Well, good reference.
Hey,
That's a good
tying
reference.
it all in.
I don't get it.
True romance.
It's a true
It is
romance
Jackson.
reference.
Oh.
Yeah.
You say, hey man, it's not white boy day, is it? He's like,
But
"No,
what
it's
okay, so they got along, but who didn't get along? One of the other things I found out that I think is really interesting is apparently they didn't. Winona Ryder and Gary Oldman didn't get along during filming at all, which surprised everybody because they were super close during rehearsals. But then they took a break before the movie started, and when they got back, they totally were not having it. They were seemingly hating each other, and nobody knows why to this day. I have a guess. I have a pretty clear idea of what might have happened that might have thrown them off. And I don't think I even need to say it, but it's like everyone's like, yeah, they were super close and tight, and then
He's
all of a
fucking
sudden,
Sadie.
all of a sudden they were
And also
not.
fucking Winona.
I think they probably hooked up or tried to, or something happened, and that's obviously what went south. But I guess at one point when she wasn't giving... the other thing that makes me think that is the bit where they said, like, she wasn't really getting the reaction when she first sees Dracula on the streets of London. So at one point, Gary Oldman grabs a cucumber from a food stall that's on the street in the scene. And then when she turns around and looks at him, he's holding the cucumber between his legs as, like, this big erect dick. And that's what she's reacting to. And I'm like... Oh, they totally like hooked up or almost did. Like something happened there that she got
I
bummed
would have
about.
laughed though. I wouldn't have given the correct
No,
reaction.
that
I would have been like, "Oh shit, that's a cucumber dick."
I don't think you would have. I don't think that would have worked.
Well, that's
for you.
why I'm not cast as Mina.
I bet you could act as Mina, but that would just not be the way to get you to react the right way. That'd be the way to get you to laugh.
But even so, I mean, turning around and seeing that,
Mm-hmm.
how would you come off with any other expression on your face besides like, what the fuck? Like, what?
Well, maybe she was. I mean, I don't know. I thought Winona Ryder was really awesome.
She was
seems
great.
like a really cool person. I'm just wondering,
Yeah.
as a person, she seems like a cool person with not drinking a lot and Stranger Things award ceremonies, but or stealing from stores. But nothing but love for you, Winona Petaluma. But
Is she Petaluma?
uh huh.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, no, I went to high school with her brother, and she did not have a good time there.
Oh.
No, she got picked on pretty hardcore.
Aw.
Yeah, she's like the ultimate revenge of like, oh, you picked on that little tomboy nerd girl and made her life miserable. Now
Yeah.
she's big star and thinks you're an asshole.
Ha ha.
But yeah, man, like know. This movie's rad. It's almost hard to talk about a movie that's awesome.
No, I mean, but there's like so much bullshit.
The effects were so awesome, just like we were saying before, just like the costuming, the fucking just everything. The monster, him as a bat or a fucking wolf or anything like that was good.
It is more true to the book. They did change a bunch of things, but I thought all the changes were good.
The costuming and everything is a little over the top. That's
I like that
sometimes.
though.
Yeah.
The only one I don't like is her wedding dress that she got buried in.
That like it looks like
collar,
a fucking
like she has like a
Jurassic Park where she spits.
like a
I loved it.
You do?
She
You like
looks
that
so
thing?
cool.
She looks, but it's just like that weird bib thing. It's
Yeah.
kinda
It
great.
does look like those spitting dinosaurs in
It
Jurassic
does,
Park.
yes.
And she even spits on
Yeah.
yeah,
that's right.
Van
Oh,
Helsing,
they filmed that scene backwards when she's getting back into her
Yeah.
coffin.
Yeah, I like that. I like.
Speaking of that part though, my favorite part is she drops the fucking kid.
Yeah, that
like
was
legit
hilarious.
drops. It was like,
We laughed.
that was fucking hilarious.
It's like just drops the kid. Yeah, speaking of brides, the brides of Dracula, Monica Bellucci, one of my crushes.
Gorgeous.
Super gorgeous to this day.
Yes.
Gorgeous. We looked her up before this, and she's absolutely stunning.
She's aged
And
very well.
She's awesome. She's done some awesome roles. You know, it's like she's really cool. But I'm sorry. I know. You know, some people don't like me when I just focus on how hot they are. But oh my God, she was my childhood crush. When
Beauty
I saw
is
this
beauty,
movie,
and if you can't appreciate it,
when she,
we're not allowed to say who our crushes are.
dude, when I saw that scene as a kid, even when this movie came out, I was like, in 92, I was like, I would have been like 15, 16. I literally was like, this is my dream come true. Like when she like rises out of the bed, you know, in between his legs, he's like lying down and she just comes up and I'm like, oh my God, I'm done. I'd be done. That'd be
Wow,
me.
Dom, you're
That'd
such
be
a
the end of
pig.
me.
There was more to her role than just sex
and titties.
and titties.
Like I would be like, I'm just saying that if I was in the castle and those girls rose up, like, even as a kid, when I watched it the first time, I was like, yeah, this is where my story would end.
Well, then you know what?
I would not be involved. Like I'd be done. It's like, what happened to Dominic?
Hey,
they ate him. They ate him.
Yeah, fuck Dracula
he died happy.
for cock blocking him.
that is the proper response because I mean, Dracula is by nature a very sexual story.
Yeah, it is.
So it provoked the right response out of it.
No, I think it did a good job of updating that. It's like heightened sex. The sexuality of it was in a restrained sense in the original story that Bram Stoker wrote, but I think they really brought it out for the 90s. And I think that movie holds up.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It could have come out now.
Forever.
It's timeless.
Yes.
It could come out now.
Totally.
And it could have been.
It'd come out now and be like, we would love it, but everyone would be like, where's all the fucking
I think it would do
CGI
well.
and blah blah
I
blah?
think
Because
it would do
everyone
well.
likes garbage now.
I
makes
mean, there's an
garbage.
argument,
No,
but I think
practical
it
effects
would-
are coming back.
They better.
It's a cool thing now.
I think it would have been. I think it would do well.
Did you know Prince Vlad's scream after thrusting his sword into the cross is the scream of Lux Interior?
That is crazy from the Cramps. Yeah,
Yes.
that is amazing. Like,
That's cool.
how did that happen? Like, was he just
maybe-
hanging out? Like,
well, I mean, maybe Francis Ford Coppola's a big Cramps fan.
I'm gonna bet Gary Oldman had something to do with that.
You
He's
think?
probably into the
Oh,
Cramps and was
yeah,
like,
maybe.
hey, you know what would be cool?
Yeah.
he's the one that did the scream.
Yeah, that's what I.
That's so cool. You know, Steve Buscemi was the first choice to play Renfield, but he turned it down.
Oh man, that would have been
Yeah.
been hilarious.
I screw up another name. I did.
I
Yeah.
mean, it would totally not have. But like, shut the fuck up, Donnie. Like, yeah, I don't know. I think they picked wisely with Tom Waits.
Dude, he did a good job.
He's a great guy.
I mean, he's over the top. He's an over the top Renfield, but like they're all over the top.
Yeah.
To be honest, there's nobody that's not chewing scenery when they come out, except
Yeah.
for Keanu Reeves. He's the only one that's just sort of coasting through this movie.
Dude, It's a
Do
fucking
you think
good
that
movie.
Keanu had more scenes, but they just like axed those because he was just so terrible?
I wonder. This is probably the worst. I actually like Keanu Reeves. This is probably his.
I love
worst
Keanu.
performance.
Bill and Ted. I love Bill and Ted.
Yeah, this is probably his worst performance. I think.
It's terrible.
Honestly, that's
Yeah.
that's saying something. But I think just because it was such an opportunity, and if he had nothing, I think he should have bowed out of the movie. I think there's so many other people that could have been.
This movie is 3 hours long, and they actually cut 25 minutes of gore.
I wish they'd come out with it, like if director's cuts were big and they'd kept those scenes.
Yeah.
I would take another 25 minutes of this movie.
Me too.
Yeah, it didn't really seem like it was.
It doesn't
3
seem
hours.
like 3 hours.
It doesn't. I didn't know that it was 3 hours. I didn't realize that at all.
Yeah, Monica Bellucci's hot.
She's beautiful. I'm
is.
sorry. She's my child. She's one of my childhood crushes.
I didn't mean to bring it back to
No,
you sexualizing women.
Monica
you pigs.
Bellucci.
There's more to
for
her
a young
walk.
Sicilian American boy, a Sicilian woman that's just absolutely stunning. I'm sorry. I was in love with her from the moment she came out. Whew.
Speaking of over-the-top characters
Oh, damn.
and how they played them, Anthony Hopkins did an amazing job with fucking Van Helsing.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think he is the perfect, eccentric, crazy, driven doctor.
Yeah.
He's my favorite in this movie.
Yeah.
They almost didn't cast him. They almost cast Liam Neeson.
That would have been
bad.
That would have been a mistake.
Yes.
Anthony Hopkins just owns this part. He owns this part as much as he owns Hannibal Lecter.
Well, I think that just came out when they were casting, and that's what got him the part.
Really?
Yeah.
He owns every scene he's in. He just takes it over, and everybody's just riding along with him. And they're good actors in this movie.
Yeah. Matter of fact, dry humor, and he delivers on it every
Yes.
fucking time.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Sarcasm is just like, and the timing is what is really good about it too.
Life? No. Blood? Yes.
Yeah.
Like, when
You drove safe through her heart and chopped her head off.
Yes, so
like-
good.
As he's eating his meat, and guzzling his.
And the
He's
flashback.
like, yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
I know, this is really sad for you, but it's like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just gonna cut off her head and stake her to the ground.
Yeah.
Put a stake through her heart. He's
So he was good.
perfect. They used him 3 times in the movie. They loved him so much. He was the priest in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then he was the narrator. I think they figured out quickly. I was like, oh, this guy's killing it. Like, just use him all over this thing.
He is a national treasure.
Dude, that guy's great in everything he's in.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a bad Anthony Hopkins movie part that I can think of, and I mean, he kills it as Odin in the Marvel Thor movie. I mean, he just kills it.
Yeah. He's a great actor.
Yeah. God, I mean, there's just so many cool things. I love the costumes are over the top, but the only one where I really feel like it nails, I love every costume Dracula comes out in.
Mm-hmm.
Like from the old. I mean, I would have liked to have seen him looking like the Dracula they described in the books, but they made him so eerie. The look of the old Dracula, and I know that like the intent was like all the physics to be. Like,
I wanted young Dracula to be a little more handsome, though.
You don't think, or is it just
just-
because of Gary Oldman's not?
I was not attracted to
Yeah,
Gary
you weren't
Oldman.
feeling it?
No, I wasn't.
Yeah. No.
No.
Who would you think would make a really good Dracula as an actor?
Chris Pratt.
I did not expect you to take it there, and I should have realized you would. And I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that. He'd be a good
Elvis would have been a good Dracula.
Elvis would have been.
Would not really.
Yes.
Elvis.
Young Elvis being all like
Yes.
bashful, like, hey, mama.
With like a good with a Fu Manchu mustache.
It's not a Fu Manchu. The Dracula in the books has just a longer, like kind of almost like a handlebar mustache. It's like a big.
So a Fu Manchu.
No, not a Fu Manchu. Oh my god.
This movie's kind of reminds me of Dungeons and Dragons.
Are you saying that because Donald's wearing a Dungeons and Dragons shirt?
Yes.
I'm wearing a Dungeons and Dragons shirt, and
Which is not anything like the board game we played.
It is totally exactly.
Is completely...
Mixtape Massacre is Dungeons and Dragons for harmonies. I love all the method acting though, like how the director would call Winona Ryder a whore and a slut.
Yeah.
During that scene when she's when she gets
scene?
caught by Van Helsing, with Dracula when she's like sucking his blood.
Oh my. Really?
Yeah.
I try to imagine like those scenes in real life.
It's like whore, slut.
She's like what, like 20 something?
Yeah,
like
I would
early
just
20s. She looks so young.
That wouldn't make me feel anything other than like it would probably make me start laughing.
But I'm picturing him doing it through like a megaphone.
Whore,
Slut.
I feel like sometimes I feel for some of these actors.
You
like,
done it no good, whore.
It's like I wonder if they're ever like, will you shut the fuck up so I can do the scene? You're not helping.
That would just distract me. Yeah.
She's calling me a whore and a slut from across the room. Yeah. Man, I don't know. I mean, there's so many things about this movie that is just really cool. Francis Ford Coppola wanted Johnny Depp to play Jonathan Harker.
Yeah, probably would have been a way better choice.
Honestly, I think so.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yep.
Yeah, no. So, if you haven't seen this movie, God knows how you missed it. I would definitely take 3 hours and watch
Probably
it. It's not going to
banging
feel like 3 hours.
Beasts in the courtyard.
Dude, it's so cool. It's just so cool. There's just so many little subtle things that even I didn't notice until we started talking about it.
Yeah. The part where where they come into the room and he's the gigantic bat person.
Oh yes,
and he
that
backs
bat
into the
costume
corner.
is so cool.
And he backs into the corner.
He
and they
hated it.
Follow him with the light.
He was
Takes
allergic
to a bunch of rats.
He was allergic to the makeup, I heard. Like, in some states,
I think he also thought it was just stupid. He was like, I don't feel scary. I'm like, how could you not, though?
I did see that there's a lot of times where he didn't think he was being very scary.
Yeah, I think it's terrifying.
But then it's another thing when you're walking around, you know, you're wearing, maybe your boxers are showing out of the back, your ass is hanging out of
I guess so.
Because it's maybe like a seam open to keep you somewhat cool, so your ass cracks hanging out, and you're just like, this feels weird. You know, and you're like, this is like a big weird rubber suit that I'm wearing, and it doesn't even look cool. But then you see it in the lighting, and then after the film's been treated, and you're just looking at this scene as he comes out, and it looks so good. The monster designs are perfect.
They did everything
and
right.
back to the rats. That was a really cool scene. My question on that, though, is... So he turns into all these rats, right? If they caught one of the rats, does he, like, come back and he's, like, missing a finger or something? Or a toe? Or, like...
Well, I don't think... I think it's all... Like, it's hard to say with Dracula, because he's part illusion. Mm-hmm. You know, so he's... Like, half of that stuff is... You know, it's like... It's his
or maybe
real
he's hidden in only
shape-shifting.
one of those rats.
Yeah, it's hard to say how
Yes.
that... Like, it's... I guess it's not workable. Like, you could try and kill it and everything else, but I think he'd still come back together as a whole, because you're just dealing with pieces of evil, and God knows if you could even get a handle on any of those rats. Like, I don't know. I haven't fought. It's been a while since I fought some vampires, and only the older ones can do that shit. So, it's
So
like,
what
you
are all
face
the
one of
ways
those.
to kill a vampire?
The ways to kill vampires?
Yes.
Well, you know, they say a stake through the heart. But honestly, a stake through the heart would kill just about anything.
Does it have to be wood?
No.
No?
You basically, all that lore comes from essentially people with tuberculosis who would die and then who wouldn't be quite dead when they'd slip into a coma, and they'd bury them, and then they'd be trying to claw their way out, and it became a big fear. But like, when you have the suspicion of... It's a much greater story here that I'm skimming over and giving a penny version, but like that whole thing was just to ensure that the body stays in the grave,
Yes,
stays down,
Nailed
it doesn't
it to
get
the
up
earth.
under it. So like, it's the stake through the heart to make sure it's not going anywhere. You cut off the head, definitely not coming back.
So we would treat tuberculosis victims
Well,
like
they didn't know what it was.
They didn't know what it was. So like, you know, people were sick and they'd seem to die, but they really just were succumbing.
So they would think they're monsters.
They think they would be dead, and then you'd like...
They'd bury him, and then they'd hear
Well, yeah.
clawing.
noises
Like,
or-
what the fuck?
Well, they used to put those Like the
bells
bells in
in the ground, so you
right?
can ring.
Well, see, and then other people would get sick. Another thing would happen. That all came out of this fear of being buried being buried while alive, because so many people were sick. So somebody would get sick and they would waste away. And the way tuberculosis is that you waste away.
Mm-hmm.
You get very thin.
I mean, I would just want someone to just stab me.
But like,
Because
well,
I
they
don't
would
want to wake
die,
up.
and then you'd bury them, and then all of a sudden other members of your family would get it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'd start wasting away. And so it became very easy to, like, a lot of the superstitions were built up around, like, something was coming and feeding on them, and that it would be somebody, either the original person who died,
Mm-hmm.
and then they had some occasions, I think there was a reported case where somebody was buried alive, and they found, when they went down, somebody was saying, like, go in and, unbury them, and I can't remember it, so I'm making a mess of it, but that they dug somebody up, and it was evidence that they were alive the entire time. They were buried too early, and they had been sick, so they died in the coffin trying to get out. They couldn't get out. So that became a whole thing that swept, like, nobody wanted to be buried alive, and that's where all those bells came along. And then you got the different, like, ways, like, they started putting cages over graves. They had, like, the cages that would be built into the ground to try and keep the bodies down, because, there was a lot of superstition about what was rising up. So, like, there's a lot of things that vampires pull from, a lot of different folklore. I really recommend people looking it up. I'm telling a very bad version of it, but, like, take the time to do research on what really made people think about vampires and why, like, the stake through the heart, the cutting off the head, the crucifix,
Garlic,
the holy water, garlic. Why
Garlic? That's the only thing I'm like, what?
There's a reason. There's a reason.
There's
What
a
is it?
reason.
Hold on.
Garlic. I love garlic.
Garlic is delicious. I like how they addressed this, the way, like, the no reflection addressed it but didn't address it. They just, you just see it in the movie without being like, hey, there's these things don't cast reflections and this and that. You know what I mean? Like in most vampire movies where they're like, oh, here's the checklist of things. They just kind of get it into the movie pretty well. Get it in there without focusing too much on it.
Yeah, so to answer the question, though, about garlic, it's essentially, it got its good reputation originally from Egypt. It was believed that it held incredible healing powers for people and was good for you to eat. And it was known for not only healing, but protection against the plague and different supernatural evils. In southern Slavic regions, it was used to protect oneself from demonic forces, witches, and sorcerers. And it was said that the Christian Saint Andrew was the donor of garlic to humanity, so it literally was like, it's a ward against evil in general. So
it's a purifier.
Yeah, a vampire would just not enjoy it because it's essentially an evil being it's essentially
repellent.
Darkness. Yeah, it's a creature of darkness that has been turned away from the eye of God. So yeah, it to prevent someone from being turned into a vampire, it became common to stuff cloves of garlic into the corpse's nose, mouth, and ears to keep out all evil. It would also be smeared over the eyes, and when they cut off its head, they
I don't
would
think I would
supposedly
like garlic in my eyes either.
fill the vampire's mouth with garlic to keep it from returning. Which just means really corpses that didn't rot fast enough. Like sometimes they dig it up, and if they found somebody hadn't rotted right, like they were weirdly preserved, that was it. They were like convinced it was a vampire.
Can you just imagine all severed heads around
Underneath the ground. I think about like the Paris catacombs and how many heads are down there. It's like that's a lot of people that lost their bones.
Well, history lesson for you there out there, dickheads.
Keep my skull. Cut my head off.
We'll cut your head off and
keep my skull
and keep it
in the house
in a shrine.
Yeah, please
to
do.
Shotzi.
Like right now.
Well, I mean, if I die,
okay.
sometime soon,
hopefully not.
cut off my head and keep my skull.
I'll just watch E. If he starts wasting away, like Digging you up. Find you in that weird little frilly bib.
Spit on everybody.
So yes, the movie's awesome, guys. I don't know. I mean, we could say it 100 million more times, but I think we summed it up pretty well.
Yeah.
Whore! You whore!
It's candy corn time, people.
I'll give it 5 Francis Ford Coppola whores and sluts.
Megaphones.
No, I'm gonna give it a 5. I think
5 out of
I don't
5?
think the only way this movie could be better is if Keanu Reeves had brought his A game to
If
it.
Keanu Reeves died before this
We don't wish death on Keanu Reeves.
yeah,
Come
I'm just
on.
kidding. No, he was
No,
good
he's a
in
good
Bill and
dude.
Ted and what's that movie that?
John Wick,
John
1
Wick.
and 2.
He was
and
good in other movies too.
bunch of movies.
I liked them in Matrix.
Point Break. God, that's fucking a cinematic masterpiece.
Yeah. Speed.
Yeah, there's lots of things. Zombie candy corns.
Like a 4.8.
Okay.
Not a perfect score, but like
So you think I'm being too generous with 5? Maybe I should drop it down a little bit.
I don't know. I almost want to give it a 5, but I don't know if anything deserves a 5.
That's the most like existential like little thing you threw out. Like,
Yeah.
does anything? Is there
Nothing
ever a perfect
matters.
movie?
Yeah, is there ever a perfect movie?
I
What if-
can't imagine a better Dracula made. Like that was a really great effort. I'm gonna give it a 5 despite Keanu Reeves sleepwalking through this movie.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
get.
that's the only reason I took a 0.2 out off of my 5.
Right.
I'm gonna give it a 4. Not so much because of Keanu Reeves or anything, just because I like
Hate.
the original better,
Mhm.
just because it's like the original,
Right.
the Universal one. So, but I mean, yeah, I mean it's about as perfect to a modern adaptation of the Bram Stoker's Dracula and the novel as you're gonna get, or the story in general.
Yeah, I haven't seen a movie come since that.
No,
vampire movie.
not one that's specific to Dracula, like the novel.
I don't think I've loved a vampire movie as much. I mean, there's great ones. Let the Right One In. It's a great movie.
But
There's
yeah.
other great vampire movies, but this is a great Dracula.
It's pretty good. It'd probably be my number 2 in Dracula movies. Well, I guess I shouldn't say Universal's the original.
I mean,
since
Hammer.
Nosferatu,
I
but
wonder how. I have to think about Hammer movies, the Hammer Dracula movies. They're a different kind of.
yeah,
It's kind of apples and oranges on that.
I think so.
They're just too different. They're all really too different. But like, as far as a modern telling of Dracula, if they were to announce like we're coming out with a new Dracula movie, I'd still be like, why?
Yeah, I don't think one would hold up better.
Unnecessary.
So
No.
I think the consensus is in.
Yeah.
We all love it.
It's one of our
and
favorites.
you should go check it out if you haven't. So, yeah, eat a bunch of dicks.
Thank you so much for listening to us talk about how much we love this movie. You guys all have a great night, and we will see you next time.
Eat my garlic.
There it is. There it is. See you guys later. Thanks, guys. You've been listening to Monster Candy Podcast. Want to find out more about the show? Find us on the web at monstercandypodcast.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram by searching Monster Candy Podcast. And you can find our Twitter at MonsterCNDYPC. Hey, we couldn't fit the whole name. What do you want from us? Let us know what you think of the show, and if we're right or if we're wrong, or what you want us to tackle next. We want to hear from you. Well, Shotzi and I do, but I can promise that E doesn't really care. To find out more about Shotzi Blackheart and her professional wrestling, follow her Twitter at Shotzi Black or her Instagram at Shotzi Blackheart. You can follow Screamin' E's band, the Memphis Murder Men, on Facebook at TMMM official page or his Instagram at Screamin' E. That's screaming with no G, add the E. For me, Dominic Davy, you can find my artwork at dominicdavy.com, my band Tsunami Bomb at tsunamibomb.net, and you can hear my other podcast, 3 Gigs, at 3gigspodcast.com, or on the same platform you're hearing this podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Monster Candy Podcast.
Welcome to my home. Enter freely of your own will and leave some of the happiness you bring.